This is Dalton Nunemaker, Ranger Class 623. The tips that I would have just for things I would want to know right before starting Ranger School would be, first and foremost, don't mess with contraband at all. I saw a lot of guys, way too many good guys. In my class particularly, we had a really bad stretch of nicotine, caffeine, guys trying to sneak stuff in, and everyone thinks about it. Everyone, is tempted by that, and you want to have that advantage, but it's just not only the wrong thing to do, but you will not get away with it. These RIs have been doing it for so long. These training battalions have been doing this for so long. They know every hiding place. They know everything that any Ranger's ever tried, and you might think that you've thought about it for a couple weeks and you have a really good idea, and you will get caught, and it's not worth it for the rest of your career. It's just such a terrible look. The way you have to get dropped, it's different than everyone else. You get all these, do not return, or, sent back to your unit in disgrace, these violations. These things are much more serious than if you just, fail patrols or whatever. So being tired is worth it when it doesn't ruin your career. So kick that stuff early. Before I went, I took a month off of caffeine, that kind of stuff, just to prepare my body for that, and I think it helped. So just don't mess with contraband at all. It's not worth it, and they will find it. A few other tips that were useful for me: make sure your duffel bags are marked individually to you and have your name on them, so you can find them easily. In mountains especially, but in a lot of phases, trusting the little ranger trails that are there and not trying to be too creative and go off on your own route. They run the same missions every cycle multiple times throughout the year, and these trails are made for a reason. They're the easiest path, they're the best path, and don't think that the RIs expect you to be super unique and blaze your own trail. Like, you're there to do what everyone's done before and get through. So use those trails, especially in mountains. I found them particularly helpful. Even if they're slightly off your azimuth, it's probably because RIs have hinted at people to take that trail before, or the elevation's better. It's just, there's reasons why people typically go that way. And so, follow if there's what looks to be a trail of some kind, like a ranger trail, kind of beaten path, follow that and just trust that it'll get you back on azimuth before too long. It's probably avoiding some terrible elevation that you don't want to deal with, that you can't see on your map because your map's so old and crappy. So just trust it. The last little just kind of tactical things I would say, for a lot of people, the priorities of work were really big in the patrol base. In the morning and patrol bases, people are getting graded on how that goes, and just making sure that all your guys are always on the same priority of work and are in line with the platoon and doing what the platoon is doing at that time, and it's all coordinated. That makes a really good look for you. Things for the patrol base, like the black and gold plan, and any kind of react to contact, all that stuff you can plan and disseminate out to your platoon before actually moving into the patrol base. And a lot of people don't realize that, but using your time while you're just standing around, getting accountability of weapons, maybe just like waiting on the RIs to bring you like water or whatever, using that time before you actually start your patrol base establishment to disseminate that information is going to save you a lot of time and get you a few extra minutes of sleep, which is what matters a lot more. Last thing I would say would just be a few other things that were useful to me. The black electrical tape, a lot of people will bring that, and I use that for pretty much everything, just all the time. It's good to have one of those little rolls on hand. Using the small pockets on your canteen pouches was something that I hadn't really gotten in the habit of using, but they're so convenient for little things like rubber bands and zip ties, lighter, whistle, electrical tape roll, something, just small little things, batteries that you need quick access to, and it's a bunch of extra space you kind of don't really realize you have. Those pockets are very convenient when all your other pockets are getting filled up with mags and all other important things. And then for lighters, I brought torch lighters that were way better for working in the wind and just for making tie downs and all the stuff that you have to do all the time. So use those torch lighters. They're pretty cheap to find around, and they're not affected by the wind or anything. But they are, I think, particular in Derby about not having them. So I just left mine at home, and I picked them up in my Derby Pass, or you could leave it with a friend, pick it up, or you could just buy some on your Derby Pass. And I wouldn't mess with it in Derby, but mountains in Florida, nobody cares, and you can bring them there, and they're just very useful for all the tie downs that you do constantly. That would pretty much be the biggest things I kind of wish I knew before heading in.